Welcome back to the Ditch Decade Diets podcast and this special September podcast challenge that I'm doing for this month, which is all focused around consistency. Nobody else knows about this podcast challenge, by the way, except for you listening to this because you're a badass podcast listener, and I'm so excited to drop these episodes all about consistency this month. So for today, I want to talk about being consistent even when you're not seeing results and how to keep going even when you are still binging. So I talk about this quite often, but it's really easy to be consistent when you're not binging, right? It's like you're feeling so good. You're like, I got this. And I see this very often with people who will jump into a program, right? It's like there's that initial excitement. It's like, I got this. And you're so eager to utilize the tools. You're so eager to transform your relationship with food. You're so ready to conquer binge eating. And it's so easy when things are going well and you're utilizing the tools and you're feeling unstoppable and you're feeling like, yes, I freaking got this. But when you're not seeing results, or you're not seeing results as fast as you would like, maybe you are still binging, maybe you're having less urges, but maybe you're still overeating. Those are the moments where it can feel challenging to keep going because you don't have the evidence yet that it's going to work. But what I will say is the people who conquer binge eating show up consistently, especially when they're binging. So some people will say, oh, because I'm binging, I'm going to pull back. Because I'm still binging and I've had binge after binge after binge, I'm going to pull back. There's no point of utilizing the tool. I'm just going to throw in the towel, and they're not going to conquer binge eating. But for you, you're going to say, okay, I've had 4 binges this week and it feels hard and it feels challenging, but this is where I need to turn up the dial even more. This is where I need to utilize the tools even more. It's not like, oh, there's no point of using the tools because I'm still binging. No. I'm going to utilize the tools even more because I'm still binging. And that was really the mindset that I had, because my journey wasn't easy. And I was talking to a VIP one-on-one client inside of the Ditch Decade Diets Academy. And she said, this journey is challenging. And I said, yes, but you don't want it to be easy. You don't. You think you want this journey to be easy, but you don't. Because what you actually love is the challenge. You do. You love the challenge. Why? It's a greater reward at the end. If this journey was easy, every single person would be binge free. Every single person wouldn't struggle with their relationship with food. Nobody would be feeling bad about eating certain foods, and nobody would be impulsive. But why do only some people conquer? Because it's not easy. And most people will fall off when things get hard. When they're still binging, they'll throw in the towel. And I told this client, I said, it's so rewarding when you've gone through something so challenging and you've gone on the other side and you can confidently say, I am binge free and I am so freaking proud of myself because that was challenging. What's the story you want to tell? My journey was not a walk in the park. My journey was not a walk in the park. It was not easy. It wasn't. It wasn't like, oh, I committed to ending my binge eating. And yeah, oh my God, it was so easy to not give in to my binge urges. And oh my God, it was so easy for me to just allow myself to eat the foods that I've deemed as off limits for 10 years of my life. And it was so easy navigating comments from other people. And it was so easy getting triggered. And no, it was not easy. It wasn't easy. But in those tough, challenging moments, that's where I turned up the dial even more. And I said, I need to be even more committed. I need to utilize the tools even more. I need to plug into supports even more. And, I tell my clients this all the time. It's like, come to our coaching calls when things are going well, but especially come to the coaching calls when you're struggling, because that's when you need the most amount of support. You know, I see this so often. It's like, oh, I'm struggling. Or what I see so often is you're having a good week with food and you come on and you're like sharing your wins. You're like, yes, I'm amazing. You know, I haven't binged in X amount of time. I'm feeling so good. I was able to not give into an urge. I'm not emotionally eating anymore. Like, I feel so good. And you're like showing up to the calls, you're utilizing the tools, and you feel amazing. And then maybe the next week later, it's like, yeah, you had 4 binges in a row, and now there's like shame. It's like, I can't show up. I can't share that I'm struggling because everybody just celebrated me and everyone thinks that I'm doing so good. But that is when you need to show up even more. You need to show up even more. I was so consistent on my journey. I showed up to every single coaching call that my coach led. I watched all of the trainings. I did all the integration worksheets. Like, I showed up so powerfully for myself, even when it was challenging, because my journey was not easy. It wasn't. I was navigating food sensitivities. I was dealing with a lot of bloating issues. I was dealing with adrenal fatigue. I was just dealing with a lot behind the scenes. It was not easy. And some people will say, oh, it's too challenging because I'm also navigating my bloating issues. Oh, it's too challenging because I had food sensitivities, or I have SIBO, or I have PCOS, or I have whatever. But you can either see that as like, oh, well, that's the reason I can't conquer, or you can see it as, yeah, you know what? This is maybe an extra stepping stone, but that doesn't mean that I can't conquer. I didn't use that as an excuse as to why I couldn't do this. I just said to myself, all right, Lorna, this is going to be challenging. Let's freaking do this. To keep going when things aren't easy, that's the real magic. That's the real magic. That's when you come out on the other side feeling proud of yourself. Because like I said, if this journey to conquering binge eating was so easy, it wouldn't be rewarding. Like, you wouldn't have a powerful story to tell. Many of you guys tell me all the time, Lorna, I'm so grateful you share your story. I'm so grateful you share your story because, man, like, I thought I was the only one struggling. And I'm like, no, like, my journey was not easy. But I'm actually grateful that it wasn't easy because I feel like the biggest badass. And you know what? When my clients are maybe struggling or they're having, binges, and I'm like, I got you. Because I've been there. I get it. Don't worry. I got your back. If it was just like smooth sailing, it wouldn't feel rewarding at the end. Like, if you've ever done something challenging in your life, like I use the analogy of like a marathon, right? It's like, if it was so easy to run that marathon and then like you cross the finish line and you're like, okay, that was good. Like, that's not as fulfilling as, oh my gosh, I was so out of breath. My legs were so tired. Like, what is the story you want to tell? That was the hardest thing I've ever had to do. And my legs were shaking and I was so out of breath and I so badly wanted to give up. But I kept convincing myself, keep on going. You got this. You can freaking do this. You're a badass. And you push through those tough times. When you cross the finish line after that marathon, it's like, whoa, I feel so proud of myself. Like, sometimes I think back to my journey and I just have so much love for that version of myself that did not give up when things got hard. Because that's what makes the journey and my binge-free life so fulfilling. I never take it for granted. There's still so many moments in my life where I'm like, food feels so effortless. Like, even one of my clients, she said, like, do you ever think about food? No, I don't. I'm like, oh, gotta cook today. Like, it's more like, oh, I gotta go cook today. I gotta go to the freaking grocery store. Versus like, okay, what am I gonna eat today? Okay, how many calories? I don't think about food. I don't even think about my body. Food feels so easy. Food feels so effortless. I don't have an urge. I haven't had a single urge in over 4 years. But why that makes me so happy is not because, oh yeah, it was so easy and like, oh my gosh, like so easy. Like, no, it actually would not be fulfilling. I would not be so proud of myself. But when I think back to my journey and I was like, oh my gosh, all those times that I had those strong urges and I didn't give in. Oh, Lorna, you're amazing. So freaking proud of you. So being consistent when things are hard is challenging. But who do you need to be in those moments? When you think about the challenge, right? Oh, I just binged. I want you to push yourself even more and say, I am not giving up. Things are challenging, and that's exactly why I need to keep on going. Because I'm not going to start and stop this process. I am committed. Are you actually committed? Or are you just committed when things are easy? I was committed when I had good days. I was committed when I had challenging days. I was committed when I wanted to give up, but I never allowed myself to. So staying consistent on those hard days is not about that moment. It's not about this feels hard right now. It's about what's the story you want to tell. It's about future you. I want you to think about the version of yourself who no longer binges. She's going to look back and be like, yeah, holy moly, it was so hard. And this is exactly why I'm so proud of myself. So when things are challenging and you just had a binge, you just had 2 binges in a row, 3 binges in a row, 4 binges in a row, and you're struggling with, food sensitivities, and you're struggling with bloating, and you're struggling with other health conditions or whatever it is, do not let that set you back. Do not let that set you back. That's part of your story. It's part of your story. It's part of the story that you're going to tell when you are binge free and you're literally looking at yourself in the mirror, like so proud of yourself, so happy that you chose to not give up. It's part of your story. Don't see this as a setback. See this as this is just part of my story. It is part of my story. This journey is not easy. And that's why not everyone conquers. I believe everyone can, but not everyone will, because not everyone is willing to go through the hard times. You don't want it to be easy. In fact, you love the challenge. You love pushing yourself. You love the challenge. You love pushing yourself because that's what makes everything so fulfilling. So to keep going is a decision. I'm going to keep going even though it's hard. I'm going to keep going even though I want to give up. I'm going to keep going even though I got triggered, because I'm committed and I'm pushing the gas pedal. Yeah, there might be stop signs where I have to take a minute, let myself cry or be frustrated that I just had 4 binges in a row. But I'm not going to wait at the stoplight or make a U-turn and go back to dieting. No. That's illegal. No, I'm not doing that. I'm not doing a U-turn. I'm not giving up. I'm not just staying at the red light, twiddling my thumbs this is challenging and this is hard, so I'm probably just going to give up. No, you're committed. Your foot is on the gas pedal and you're going to keep going no matter what, especially when you don't see results. Because when you don't see results, it's instead of being like, oh, what's wrong with me? I'm not conquering fast enough. It's like, okay, well, what else do I need to be doing? Do I need to give myself some tough love? Do I need to be utilizing the tools even more? Because you might think that you're actually trying, but you might not actually be trying. I was even telling this to my academy clients. I said, the easy part is watching the trainings. Anybody can listen to a training. Anyone can actually listen to a podcast. That's not going to transform your life. What's actually going to transform your life is implementing. And this is why my programs transform your life, because it's not just, just watch this training. It's the accountability. It's the support. It's the action. It's utilizing the tools. It's not just learning, right? Like this podcast, super valuable. But just listening is not going to change your life. You actually need to go and implement. And that's why people come into my programs. They transform their relationship with food. This is why clients say to me, I can't remember the last time that I binged. because they're actually putting in the work, not just when it's easy, not just, oh, I'm going to listen to this podcast and I'm going to get super motivated, but then after I listen to the podcast, I'm not going to be motivated anymore. It's like, no, I'm going to plug in to support long-term, 6 months, 12 months. I'm going to plug into Lorna's coaching and support and her badass community because I am committed, not just when things are easy, but especially when things are challenging. So that's what I have for you today. A reminder of the giveaway. I'm going to be giving away a prize every single Friday. All you need to do is leave a rating and review on the podcast, take a screenshot and just message it to me over on my Instagram, Facebook, wherever we're connected. And then you'll be entered to win the giveaway. And you can also submit a question for me to answer anonymously on the podcast as well too. So some of you guys have already submitted your submission. So I'm so excited. I'm going to be choosing one winner on Friday to get the first giveaway. And I'll be doing this every single week as well too. So leave a rating and a review on the podcast, take a screenshot, send it over to me, and I will submit your name into the draw for the first giveaway that is happening tomorrow and every single Friday moving forward for the month of September.